main questions to come out of such a historic verdict is, of course, what are the lasting effects of convicting a former president, the likes of which we have never seen? For a closer look at the legal implications, joining us now is Professor at Hofstra Law, James Sample. Mr. Sample, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And we first want to ask you, how will this impact the 2024 presidential election, do you believe?
Well, Mary, it's hard to say. I mean, the polling data refers to hypothetical convictions as opposed to an actual conviction. It'll take a little while for the polling data to incorporate the news of yesterday. But in advance, and based on the hypothetical of a criminal conviction, there were indications in the polls that a small sliver of Trump's supporters might erode if he were to be convicted of a felony crime. Now, whether or not that will hold true, whether or not that will be meaningful in the 7 swing states is hard to say. I'm not a political pundit, but I do believe it should matter in the sense that the rule of law should matter, that process should matter, and that ultimately, for all of the attacks on the verdict, this was about 12 American citizens who did their civic duty, who listened to all the evidence when most Americans, we have other things to do. They have their daily lives. The people who heard the facts and the evidence convicted Mr. Trump.
James, this was considered the weakest of the 4 cases levied against the former president, yet the verdict was swift, it was resounding. Your thoughts on the chance that the DOJ, they waived on this one, they passed. They said, you know what, we don't want this one, but Alvin Bragg decided to move forward. Your thoughts on this and the way things did turn out?
Well, I think it's a good question, Chris, and I think that in some respects, this was considered the weakest of the cases, but to a certain extent, the strongest case is the case that you actually bring, the case that actually goes to trial. If only one case goes to trial in advance of the election, then that might be the strongest case, even if you ended up losing it, which they did not. I think that this shows that there was a lot of the analysis, too, about this being a weak case was before we knew all of the facts that the DA's office was developing, before we had seen that document that included Alan Weisselberg's own handwriting on the wire transfer saying gross up the payment. A lot of times we make these analyses based on what we know, which is the best we can do, and it turns out here that the strongest case, at least for now, was the one that could actually be brought before the election day occurred.
All right, James, thank you so much. And of course, Todd Blanche, Trump's attorney, has also already talked about the appeal process, which will be lengthy, and we will discuss that moving down the line. But for now, thank you very much. Good to talk with you.
Likewise.
After the verdict, Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka took to social media. She posted a childhood photo of herself sitting on her father's lap with the words, "I love you." She did not attend the trial.
Well, people in Montclair, New Jersey were also reacting to the verdict.
No one is above the law. I don't care if you're a president. I don't care if you're a king. I don't care if you're an emperor.
I just hope there's not a lot of backlash or pushback or, you just don't know.
Quite frankly, I don't think that the verdict really is going to change anything in terms of his base. I feel like it's just going to strengthen whatever opinions people had of him.
And CBS News' Alice Gaynor has been inside the courtroom for the entire case. Here's a look at some of her reporting moments after Trump's guilty verdict.
After the verdict was read, as he was exiting the courtroom, I was sitting close to the middle aisle, so I had a shot of him when he was walking out. He went to reach for his son, Eric Trump, who has been in the courtroom a few times, and his face was red. He was sweating, and he looked obviously very angry. He walked out, and then he addressed the cameras in the hallway.
And you can hear more about Alice's experience covering this trial on CBS Mornings starting at 7 a.m.
Alice also had an opportunity to speak with the sketch artists for Trump's criminal trial. Cameras were not allowed in the courtroom, so the sketches were one of the few ways that the public could actually see inside.
I did notice Trump yawn, and I drew it. And then I thought, should I do that? I don't know. People will really be mad at me for that one, but I did. It's something different.
See the full story streaming on CBS News New York starting at 7 a.m. You can find us on Pluto TV or by using the free CBS News app.